All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
What up, everybody? It is our Tuesday show. We're very excited that you could join us as we round the last corner before our one-year anniversary. I'm extremely excited about our one-year anniversary. We have a special meetup planned. We haven't even released the information as to how you can join our meetup. And we have new information today as to how you can send us a greeting, audio or video. Also, we have a listener viewer who may have been censored. That's right. Imagine trying to share the magic of this show and being censored. It's outrageous is what it is.
That's not fake. That's real.
Exactly. And this listener viewer, as you shall learn, was even censored from our chat, which is usually something Kim does, but Kim had nothing to do with this.
Thank God for change.
Kim, how are you? Kim is here. Tony is sick, and he's working sick.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. All right, let's get things underway. There's a lot to do today. I've got some law and disorder. Jim Avila's coming up. He's got a new column, which sort of once and for all, perhaps, cements the way that we should look at Rupert Murdoch's legacy. We'll bring him on in a moment. Corey Lewandowski's in the news. He set off a major firestorm because a GOP donor has demanded money back. More on that in a second. Donald Trump is rambling on the stump. In fact, I'll get to that before Avila in just a moment. The Hunter Biden news is that Hunter is suing Rudy Giuliani. I wondered when that paper was going to drop, because you can't tell me that you get this guy's laptop, disseminate a bunch of his personal information. It's suggested in the suit that the information was manipulated. So they've not only taken this laptop, the information in it, but they've added, and you can tell this from time stamping and all the other ways that forensics, when it comes to data, can reveal, they added to the stuff in the laptop. So Hunter Biden is arguing in his lawsuit that there's a manipulation of the data on top of the theft of the data, the using the data illegally. So speaking of data, Jefferson Graham will be through. Jefferson Graham will talk about the new iPhone, and he, I believe, has had it for less than a week, but he has some thoughts on the new iPhone and the new Amazon products that were announced last week. Yeah. And where are those pictures I was supposed to see last week?
And I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week.
And Jefferson Graham has those pictures, of course, because he does the photo walks thing. So there's a lot going on.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I do want to thank you for smashing the like button like a boss and giving us a thumbs
Smash
up.
it with your iron rod.
Do it with your iron rod, damn it. Yeah. Well, Tony, can I get into this email real quick, or what's your status on this email? Are you up to speed on it now?
I don't know what is going on with this email. I'm reading it, and I don't know I don't understand. Because we don't even do anything on Facebook.
No, I know.
Thanks, Tony.
But you have seen it.
I do sometimes. Under the guise of the Mark Thompson Show, sometimes I'll post some things.
Well, I hope so, Kim, because I need some shares on Facebook. I need you guys to share.
Said. So
Start
sometimes
sharing.
I'll share the short videos. I'll share the show on the Mark Thompson Show page on the Facebook, whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds very, very enticing. All right,
Can't wait to go.
Let me just read this email, a little bit of it from Tim. I'd like to get and then I'm going to bring Avila on. I'll tell you what. Read the this is what we're going to do. This. Going to read this email from Tim. Then we're going to show you Trump rambling on the stump. Okay, a little bit. Just to, there's this sense that, you know, Biden's this old doddering dude, and Trump's this guy who's vital and, you know, has got his act together. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that he's pursuing all these illegalities and essentially trying to foment a revolution. But Trump's kind of a drifter himself. He's out in deep space, not really sure of what the hell he's saying half the time. And we'll share that with you. Tony's standing by with that. Anyway, this is from Tim. Hi, Mark. I'm still waiting to part with this KGO coaster. He has a picture of the KGO coaster that he added. Remember way back when? I guess there were KGO coasters a long time ago. KGO is the radio station from which we came.
Even I don't have a coaster. Where'd you get the
nor
coaster?
Do I.
Wow.
Nor do I. There it is. Thank you, Tony.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah.
That is a nice coaster. And he's saying he's ready to part with it. So, yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
He's willing to part with it to raise money for the show, essentially, which we desperately need.
Into the Mark Thompson box it goes.
This is the way it's written. When you first started your new venture, I reached out to you to see about auctioning this coaster off to fund your fledgling YouTube show. Well, I haven't forgotten, Tim says, and it's still available for you if you want it.
Oh, that's nice.
And now his complaint. It's not so much with our show, I don't think, but on a side note, it's very, very frustrating. Something is wrong with my Facebook. No matter what I do or try, I cannot join the live chat. I've tried everything. Now, you cannot join the live chat, Tim, from Facebook.
Exactly.
You can join the live chat only from YouTube.
YouTube.
So you have to join the live chat. Everybody in our live chat has set up, what is it, a Gmail account, Tony? Is that how it's that easy?
A
right?
YouTube account, whatever,
YouTube account. You just you can even find YouTube videos as to how to set up a YouTube account. Once you set up a YouTube account, then you can participate in the live chat. It's really easy to do, but you cannot do it from Facebook.
Yeah.
No.
So I couldn't even send what I thought was a great congratulations video to you.
Oh.
Especially considering I've never missed an episode, going all the way back to when Ron Owens first introduced you on KGO, and I had no idea who you were. I mean, wait a minute.
What?
You had no idea who I was? Are you?
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big
He
deal.
didn't know who I am. I had to Google the dancing weatherman, he said. Anyway, he's been to Geek Squad. He said, I was on a hold for over 2 hours on Facebook. Wow, I'm amazed you can call Facebook. I've gone to the Apple Store. Nobody seems to know why I can't join the live chat or send a video to you to congratulate you.
Why are you yelling?
It's very frustrating.
Why are you yelling?
Here's the Mark Thompson Show Facebook page.
Oh, I didn't even know we had a Facebook page. That's great.
We do. Yeah,
so
we do.
What's it called?
It's
called
the Mark Thompson Show. It's what you type in on the old Facebook, and then you go here with the palm trees and the coffee cup. It's good.
Okay. Well,
but that is something different completely than YouTube, which if you have a Gmail address or a Google account, then you can use that information to log into YouTube.
Yeah, I think isn't that right, Tony? What Kim's saying, you don't need to start your own channel, I don't think. You just need literally to have a Gmail address.
I don't even think it has to be even Gmail. I think it just an email address associated with a YouTube. You call it a channel, but it's just so that you can chat.
Okay.
You have to be a member of YouTube to chat, I think is the best way to explain it.
And it's free. You don't have to pay for that.
I see.
You have to pay for YouTube service if you want it without commercials, right? That's YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
But if you don't care about that, then...
Yeah, but you don't have to do that. Yeah, no one has to do that. Okay, all right.
Kim, how are you?
All right, so I know Tony is super busy, but I have no idea what's happening with my Facebook account. I've tried deleting it, blah, 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 nothing. Okay.
My guess,
anyway, Tim, thank you.
YouTube, and that should fix everything.
Yeah, go through YouTube, and that should fix everything, is what we think, Tim. And then Tim has offered his KGO coaster, which is a relic from the past, to be added to our box. We're going to do a box raffle, which is an idea that we got from Nikki. But we will tell you some of the items that are in it. That I guess that relic will be part of it. There'll be a little bit of old, new, something borrowed, something blue. Yeah, it's going to be quite special. So anyway,
Candace
that's
has some KGO wine glasses to throw in as well.
No.
Well done, Candace.
This could be
Nice.
very good, Candace. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's not fake.
That's real. Yeah. Can you, Tony, put up the banner with the new email address for how they can wish us a happy anniversary? It's our 1-year anniversary coming up in about 2 weeks, and we're going to be celebrating all that week. We will have a special 1-year anniversary meetup, but we're not doing that yet. There'll be an address, and you'll be able to join that potentially. But in the meantime, you can send us a 1-year anniversary greeting. Let me put my credibility glasses on to tell you. Short video or audio, less than 30 seconds, please, to happyanniversarymts@gmail.com. happyanniversarymts@gmail.com. Our 1-year anniversary greeting. If you want to send us a short video or audio, we'll share it with the audience. Less than 30 seconds, please. happyanniversarymts@gmail.com. And I can't wait until this simple idea turns into a hellish, chaotic, awful, confused, administrative mess. So I'm looking forward to all of, yes, in the rich tradition of the show. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
thank you for all of you who have supported us from the very beginning. There really, is no way to. Don't let Kim ship the box this time.
I mean, that's rude. Wes.
Wes.
Not my fault.
Oh, that's really rough. Donald Trump was on the stump. Oh, wait a minute. Jason says, I started with KGO in the 70s, and I love the Mark Thompson Show here.
Yeah.
While I miss KGO, I miss it substantially less because of what your cats are doing.
What you cats are doing, yes.
Oh,
yes.
you cats. I thought your cats. I get a lot of...
You do have cats, but not those
I
cats.
get a lot of response on my cats, but I say you cats. Yeah, baby. Us cats are up to it. Right on, baby. Right on. All right.
Les wants to know when the homework is due. When do you want those videos by?
I'd like to as soon as possible. When's our anniversary week? Is October 12th?
October 12th is the actual day. Yeah.
So anytime, if you can do it by October 12th, that'd be great. And October 11th would be even better.
Yeah.
Or you can do it like we do it on the show, October 12th at 12:01. So in the rich tradition of the show, last minute.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I've got Jim Avila, who's an award-winning journalist, waiting. What the hell am I doing? Do you want to just show? It's the Trump thing is quick, and I'd like to do it just before Avila comes on. This is Donald Trump on the stump, as he is essentially peacocking. He's essentially bragging about his effectiveness in decimating the Bushes. He meant Jeb Bush in the debate, and then he talks about Jeb Bush getting us into a Middle East conflict. He has his Bushes completely confused, and you can see he's just kind of regurgitating the same stuff, but it's wild how it all washes together. I just thought if Biden did this, they'd be all over him like a bad smell. Here is Donald Trump on the stump.
Before the season starts, we start in Iowa, we go to New Hampshire, we come down here. You know, the beauty was when I came here, everyone thought Bush was going to win. And then they took a poll and they found out Trump was up by about 50 points. Everyone said, what's going on right here? They thought Bush, because Bush supposedly was a military person. Great. You know what? He was a military. He got us into the Middle East. How did that work out, right? But they all thought that Bush might win. Jeb. Remember Jeb? He used the word Jeb. He didn't use the word Bush. I said, you mean he's ashamed of the last name? And then they immediately started using the name Bush. Never forget it. But we came for the...
All right, thank you. That was nicely done. Trump on the stump. It almost doesn't matter, given the way America is organizing itself now. It almost doesn't matter. But a guy who doesn't think that he really has much of a chance at all of winning is waiting now. So without any further delay...
The Mark Thompson Show.
The award-winning journalist, former senior correspondent at ABC News, now writes a regular column on media and politics. It's the brilliant Jim Avila joining us. Hi, Jim.
Good morning, Mark. How are you? Good morning, Kim.
Well, Your boy was out on the stump. He was meandering a little bit. Donald Trump got his bushes confused. He could have easily said his dad got us into the, you know what I mean? He could have said, or his brother got us into the, you know, his dad got us into one war, his brother got us into another war. He could have played all those cards, but he didn't. Kind of got confused.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that you see that he's riffing. You know, his mind is just kind of all over the place. You know, Biden may trip once in a while over a sandbag, and I guess Axios made a big deal today about the fact that the White House has put him in tennis shoes now, so that when he's walking around, he has better grip. But they focus on that. They hardly mentioned, there was one line about Trump going on this out of his mind riff. But you don't see Biden doing that kind of thing. You know, remember when Biden did the State of the Union and he was ad-libbing and he just nailed the Republicans. He's still pretty sharp when it comes to the speaking part. You know, he has a speech defect because he's had stuttering since he was a kid. So once in a while you'll see that happen. But he doesn't very often confuse George Bush with Jeb Bush. I mean,
he doesn't make that kind of mistake.
And he also said that he also said he beat Obama in 2016. I mean, that's another thing that Trump said recently. You know, I think the stress may be getting to him, Mark.
I think that, well, he certainly has a lot of it. He's been rumored to have been asking about exactly, you know, what kind of prison might I go to if things don't work out? Could I be at a minimum security prison, do you think? So he is, I think that stress that you're talking about actually does roll around. But I want to be fair, fair to the argument, okay, and suggest that Biden doesn't make the kind of mistake that you're talking about. But let's face it, he has amplified his memories about, you know, teaching politics at whatever, University of Pennsylvania, whatever, I forget, you know, at university level. And I mean, he's misremembering his past, might be a way to put it.
He embellishes.
Yeah, he embellishes, right. And apparently that's something that he has kind of done through time. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
If you've been a politician as long as he has, you're going to find some stuff. And I don't excuse it. I think that, you know, Biden has had some problems. He's a little touchy-feely, too. I mean, you know, he's done that, too. But when you compare him, you know, he's very lucky that Donald Trump is around, because rubbing a woman's back or her hair, while not cool, is not rape, is not sexual assault. So he always has this comparison. You know, stealing some lines from a poet is not the same as you know, stealing money from people who sign up for your college, your university. You know, he has this comparison that works in his favor.
Yeah, if you're grading on a curve, Trump is bringing the curve down. What is it, Kim?
I just wonder why, when President Biden makes some type of error, everyone's thinking, oh, look, he's old, cognitive impairment, that dementia, look at that, settling in, right? But when Trump seems to make mental errors like this, not knowing which, you know, Bush he beat, which one got us into war, what have you, where's the calls for, oh, he's too old to run? Oh, you know, why do we have this for Biden, but we don't have this for Trump, when they're both misspeak at sometimes points?
Well, I think we're seeing a lot of it. If you're online, we are seeing some of that, Kim, especially from the Democratic side of Twitter or X or whatever it is now. You're seeing a lot of that. They're playing this clip that Mark played this morning is all over the place in the web. So I think that is happening. Where it's not getting through is, I think that a lot of the mainstream media has just decided to ignore Trump. You don't see Trump on the evening news much anymore. But if Biden trips or something, he's the president, they're going to put that on. Now, I think it'd be fair if they're going to do it. You do see it on MSNBC, but you don't see it on NBC, ABC, and CBS when Donald Trump makes these statements that are all over the internet. So I don't know, you know, if that's we're just going to ignore him, because, and they don't play his speeches. Mostly they just don't play his speeches anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's the leading contender for the GOP nomination. By the same token, he's essentially saying the same thing across the spectrum in his Stump speeches. It's being pointed out in the chat that there's a false equivalence that we're making. I mean, I leave this to, mine's better than mine as to how equivalent it is. I think there's a lot. Here's Delwood. I think there's a bit of grasping at straws going on here, suggesting Trump's brain and Biden's brain are roughly similar in health. Let me just speak to this. First of all, there's no way to really know, as I say, but I also think that, Trump speaks with a vitality. He speaks with a power that you might confuse as a mental acuity. I mean, I just played you a clip, and if you talk to people who served in the Trump White House, they say he was out of it, misunderstanding things, not really. Even the Cassidy Hutchinson stuff, Jim, suggests that he's wildly impatient with the attention span of a 4-year-old. We knew all of these things. They were coming out in contemporaneously with the time that he was president. So I think it's fair to draw some parallels between the two.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think that in many ways Donald Trump is worse. When you look at the health, he's 3 years younger than Joe Biden. But in any race, in any anything except driving a golf cart, I put my money on Biden as far as health is concerned. You see Joe Biden riding these bikes. He runs places. He's been pretty good health. Now, look, I don't defend the fact that he's old and that it's a risk. I think that it is. And frankly, I have said on this show and other places that I wish that he would take a victory lap here at the end of the year and get on Mount Rushmore and take his bow for being the restorative president that he's been, that brought us back to normal, and let younger people run the government. I say that about McConnell too. I think he ought to be out. And Trump should not run. He's too old and too crazy, first of all, but he also has signs of degeneration. And he's at risk of dying at any moment, Donald Trump. He's way overweight. He's not 215 and 6'4". He's that's baloney. And Dianne Feinstein ought to be, all of those folks, they're not capable of the job now. Biden still is capable of the job. I worry that over the next 5 years, which would be the end of the next term, we might see some more indication that he has some trouble, and he would be a liability. And I worry about that, and I worry about him dying. In office.
I have two thoughts about the Democratic Party and in this context, and then I want to move on to Rupert Murdoch. One is that this is what the Democrats do. They pull their guys out of the game because they feel that that guy's either he's corrupt, or, and I say he/she, because there certainly is, there have been allegations of sort of insider trading type things through the decades with various legislators of both male and female. Anyway, didn't mean to get too caught up on that, but I don't mean to just say it's just guys. But pull our players out of the game, I think Democrats tend to do, prematurely. They don't stand by them the way they lock into position as the GOP does. Now, you may feel like, well, that's a virtue of the Democrats. They don't just support their party regardless of what facts. There is a ruthlessness to politics now, and I don't know, how to beat back that ruthlessness, but I would say that the Democrats need a plan, and probably the easiest plan is the power of incumbency with Biden. So even as, again, this is just objectively speaking, I don't know who is. It's getting late in the game, right, Jim, to change horses?
It is. I think end of the year, beginning of next year, it's too late. And once the primaries start, the primaries start in February and March. I think that's we're starting to get too late. But you said something there that I really want to hone in on a little bit. It is a virtue what the Democrats do. Right now, about Senator Menendez, there are 12 members of the House and Senate Democrats who have come out and called on him to resign. That's a virtue. The Republicans would never do that and have not done that. George Santos is still sitting in the House, a proven liar, negotiating allegedly for a deal with the government right now to get off the charges. The Republicans refuse to get rid of him. It's a big risk to get rid of Menendez because that's a state, that's a kind of a purple state in New Jersey. And well, the governor will get to a point, I believe, right away. Eventually, the election's coming up pretty soon. The Democrats could lose that seat. So, there are problems with this, but they are standing up and saying, look, this is ridiculous. This guy is a crook or really accused of being a crook and some serious charges, and he ought to go. That's a virtue. The Republicans never do that. They've got Donald Trump, the front runner by a large margin, with 91 different crimes charged in 4 different places. It makes no sense, and the Republicans ought to be ashamed.
Jim, does the argument of everybody's innocent until proven guilty, I mean, you always hear that, you'll hear that in an instant. It's like a reflexive remark on the part of the GOP because so many of their leading figures, as you've just suggested, have been embattled in legal matters one way or the other. Well, he's innocent until proven guilty, due process, blah, blah, blah. You don't hear that much from the Democrats about Menendez. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think because of the evidence is so overwhelming. When, the U.S. attorney put that news conference out with the gold bars and the cash, and I know you've talked about this, that's pretty hard to defend. And his excuse for it was also lame, that because he was in Cuba and his family had stuff taken away, that he doesn't believe in banks, although he sits on the House Banking Committee, by the way. None of that makes any sense. Terrific. So,
yes, right.
The Democrats, they look, all politicians, you have to view them with suspicion, okay? But I have to say that, Al Franken's not in the Senate anymore. Al Franken posted some pictures of some joke pictures on the plane, which were in bad taste, and the Democrats forced him out. He left. Bobart manhandling a guy in the theater. There hasn't even been a censure, by anybody in the in the Republican Party. It's 2 different standards. They have Fox News backing them up in that echo chamber, and they never see much of the stuff that's going on with the Republican Party. They just I don't even think. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just you mentioned Fox News. I want to get to your column, which I thought was so great. It's an indictment, essentially, as Rupert Murdoch steps back from Fox. It's an indictment of his legacy, and you stated boldly. I wonder if you can just summarize it for us here.
Well, it was bothering me, and of course, his resignation happened last week, and it was bothering me that right away, everybody was stepping up, all these media critics, and saying what a transformative figure he was, and how he, changed American media and American politics, and he did, for the worse. I guess I go back to the media has gotten us through, mainstream media has gotten us through some pretty big crises in this country. During the Vietnam War, it was the American news media with the Pentagon Papers, Walter Cronkite going to Vietnam, that showed the American people that the Pentagon was lying. We were not winning that war, we were losing it, and there was no plan really to win it. And so that eased us out of the war, kept us out of there was huge crisis going on in this country at that point, as far as people being, college students being killed at Kent State, all kinds of things that are happening. The media got us through that because it reported the facts and not opinion. The civil rights in the 60s, the news media played a huge role in bringing us through the civil rights issues. The Watergate, the media brought us through all these crises because there wasn't this compartmentalization of Republicans on one side, Democrats on the other, getting their false narratives into their echo chamber. But what Murdoch did was he invented Fox News with Roger Ailes, who was a Nixon propagandist, and they decided that they were going to create this news channel, quote unquote, that would improve, would give conservatives an unfiltered voice, and that's what they did. So what happened? MSNBC. When I was at NBC, which is right up here, at the time, when they started MSNBC, it started as kind of a, after we did our piece for Tom Brokaw, we'd do a piece for Brian Williams on MSNBC. It was sort of just a cable version of NBC News. Well, they saw what Fox did, and Fox began to dominate the ratings, and they decided we've got to have a point of view, and we've got to try to capture an audience that is liberal. And so they did. So now we have, and CNN during the Trump years started doing that too, because Trump was lying. So I don't fault CNN as much. I think CNN, it was more of an issue of they were going to stand up for democracy, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I think that's what they did. But at any rate, there was a lot of people now who just tune in to their channel and they see nothing else. So what's happened? The Australian Prime Minister, where Rupert Murdoch is, of course, from Australia. The former Prime Minister said, when he heard of the resignation, wrote that Rupert Murdoch's biggest thing was he caused the biggest division in the United States since the Civil War. And I think that's what's happened. I think that is his legacy. He has split this country into and put us in a place where we can't agree on anything. And it's that's his legacy, and he shouldn't be acclaimed for that. He should be damned for that.
It's interesting. You're making a really interesting point, which is, I think, lost in a lot of this. And it's essentially, it's not just what he did with Fox News Channel and how effective and a propaganda instrument that became. I mean, so powerful. But it's how it forced the rest of media to dramatically and seismically change. I think that I have not heard from many people. So the toxic brew of Fox News Channel spilled over into the rest of this media environment, and that's what we have now.
Yes, especially on cable. And the thing about the cable things, is that not that many watch, believe it or not. The highest audience that Fox gets right now is 3 million people, okay? And that's on their primetime lineup. The highest that MSNBC gets is about 2.5 million with Rachel Maddow on Monday nights. Every night, my former colleagues at NBC and ABC get 5 to 6 million. So and altogether, those three major networks together get about 10 million viewers. That's a lot more than is on cable. And there's still no commentary on world news, CBS News, or NBC News. It's straight news. Now, that's still there. But what happens is, on cable, they take these clips, and you get people like Jim Jordan who say things just so that it will be played on Fox News, put on a clip, and then it goes viral all over the internet. That's the effect that Rupert Murdoch has had. Even though their audience is not huge, the replay of what they have is very big. And they have that little segment locked down. It's not broadcasting anymore. It's narrowcasting. It's narrowcasting to their audience. That's the big change. And he's done it, to the detriment of this country. I mean, I go through in this column the three big things that he did. He started way before Trump. He started with Obama. He was the one who amplified the crazy Joe Arpaio in Arizona, who was saying that Obama was not born in the United States, and went on this big witch hunt for his birth certificate, and Obama finally had to produce it. But Murdoch and his folks did all that. Then they helped Trump get elected. Then they keep him in office, and then they try to keep him in office after he loses the election. Of course, the Dominion lawsuit that shows that they were lying. All those emails show that they were lying. And then perhaps the worst part is COVID. The COVID-19 misinformation killed people. And surprisingly, it killed their people. It killed the Fox News people. A study from Yale University showed that 43% after the vaccines came out, okay, Democrats were taking the vaccine almost universally. Republicans were not, and Fox News was responsible for that, partially responsible, that majorly responsible for that, along with Donald Trump. And after the vaccines came out, the Democratic numbers went down in Democratic states of people dying of COVID. And in the Republican states like Ohio and Florida, it went up 43%. 43% more people died from COVID because of disinformation put on Fox News. That, to me, is a crime. And we've talked about a little bit about this before. I don't know if it's possible. I'm not a lawyer. I played one on TV before, but I'm not a lawyer. And it seems to me there might be a case of linking your dad's death to false information on Fox News. If you prove that he stopped taking or didn't take the vaccine because he saw it on Fox News and then he died. That's the same thing as Dominion. And I wish somebody would take them to court on that. That's
maybe a big lift, but the way you recount it is exactly what happened. And the statistics are pretty damning. A lot of people who watch Fox left for Newsmax and OAN because Fox is getting, quote, too liberal for them, says Eric. It's interesting that, and we have to wrap up, but it's interesting that there's a lot of it's too liberal for me going on in America right now. The extreme Christian right is rejecting some mainstream teachings of Jesus and some mainstream church teachings because the religion that they now espouse, essentially, is way more conservative than some of those tenets that they found in the teachings of Jesus. This is a summary, of course, of a lot of detailed stuff, but it is true that we become this more extreme society in many ways, even including Christianity, which is supposed to have this soft spot for humanity.
There are some people, to your chat response, I think that, yes, Newsmax did especially right after Tucker Carlson was fired, they got a bump, and OAN got a little bump, but their audience is so small that it was a relatively small bump. And what was interesting is that Fox, you can tell that it's immoral and unethical, okay? Because right around during the Dominion thing, all those emails came out showing that how much Murdoch hated Trump, Carlson hated Trump, but as soon as they saw their numbers going down, they jumped right back on the Trump train. They had that big lunch out at his Bedminster in his golf course, and they convinced him to come on, again. So I think, that while there's been some erosion, it's still not total, and it's still not they're still the biggest force.
The column is great, and it really takes down Murdoch because he was a transformational figure, as you say, but all the transformation was massively destructive. I mean, and so, the word transformational, it does tend to somehow recast this very huge profile in some complex way. Your point is, hey man, he's transformational, and it was pure toxicity, and it seismically changed American media. I love this column, What Rupert Murdoch Got Wrong at Fox News. Tony, will you put a link in the chat, please, so people can find it? Yeah. So thanks, Tony. We'll have a few more clicks for you. Yeah. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Jim Avila. Look forward to Friday. Well. And what's that? Oh, in the description
as well. And I'll throw a link in the chat right now for it.
It'll be a link in the chat, link in the description. That's our maximum linkage, Jim. So there you go.
Much appreciated. I get a lot of comments from your listeners and viewers. It's nice.
It's really cool to have you in the mix regularly. So we'll look forward to talking to you Friday. Thanks, Jim Avila.
Okay.
Jim Avila, everybody. Right on. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Well, the train is moving. And Kim, if it is all right with you, I'd like to shift your news capsule.
Kim, how are you?
To right after Jefferson Graham's visit. Can we do that?
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right. All is well with the ship of state. And regularly on...
Everything is going extremely well.
We welcome in the great host of Photo Walks TV. He's Jefferson Graham, the former tech writer at USA Today. He still does his tech reporting here and across through his Substack letter. And you've been, Jefferson Graham, with the new iPhone 15 for how long have you had it now? There it is.
I got it last Thursday at 10 a.m. So
why does Jefferson Graham sound far away, Tony? Is he? Is his mic not?
I got it last Thursday at 10 a.m. How's that?
Better.
Yeah, maybe talking to a microphone. What do you think?
Well, I don't want to. I'll blame Tony always if it's easier on you, but we all know that it's really your fault.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
All right.
I've had it for 5 days.
Okay, you've had it for 5 days.
Thanks, Tony.
And what about the iPhone 15, the new iteration, would you say is the most positive improvement they've made technologically?
That would be the camera. Now, I think people get really tired of hearing from people like me saying, this is the greatest iPhone ever made. You got to go out and buy a new one. You could do whatever you want to do, but the fact is, it's the best one they've ever made. They make improvements every year, and they're usually incremental. This one, the bigger zoom telephoto is a big feature for me, and the USB-C charging on the end, instead of doing lightning, we now can use a USB-C cable, which sounds minor to most people, but for those of us who are photographers, or for just anybody who has gotten a nag message telling them that they're out of room, that they can't take any more pictures, they can't do any more video because they've maxed out and there's no way to get more room, now there is, because now you can plug a hard drive into your phone and move stuff off, or a thumb drive. They've made it actually consumer friendly for the first time.
Wow. Jefferson Graham seems quite taken with the new iPhone. I don't know.
Mark, when you buy the new iPhone, it comes with 128 gigabytes or 256 gigabytes of storage. And you go, yeah, I don't take that many pictures. And then you do. And then you download a lot of apps. And then the next thing you know is they're nagging you. And there's no way to get extra room except for getting a new iPhone. But now, finally, we can plug in a thumb drive.
Yeah, I completely agree, because my stuff and data is taken up by, as you're right, video and as pictures accumulate, but also audio files and podcasts. And there's so many different ways that, this memory is chewed up. And so I love that. And so you can offload stuff onto the hard drive as well, right? I mean, you can
right.
Yeah. Load on, load off.
I'll get really geeky here. You have to reformat your hard drive before it'll work, and you have to format it into exFAT. Got it? exFAT.
So wait a minute. That means that I should start with a new hard drive. So in other words, the existing hard drive that contains data that I might have backed up from another computer or whatever, that's not the one to use in this case.
If your hard drive has been formatted to what is called exFAT, then you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I would just get you could get a dedicated drive for $50, $100, and just have a dedicated drive for yanking stuff off your phone.
Here comes commentator. Asks Jefferson, what's the iPhone/HD transfer interface like?
Interesting side note is it comes with a cable for your transfer that is slower than other cables. And if you buy the accessory cable for $60 from Apple, actually, there's millions of them out there. You could probably pay about $30 for the USB 3 Thunderbolt 4 cable. It's much faster. I uploaded a file yesterday that was 100 megs, and it took about less than a minute with the cable. It took 4 minutes with AirDrop. And if I was doing a bunch of files, it would have been very time consuming. So the cable is pretty cool.
Wow. Look at that. Very interesting. There's another question for mucho dinero, is what William is saying. Is it expensive? How much is it?
The top of the line, baby, is $1,200. But
what's it going to take to get you into the top of the line iPhone today, sir?
$1,200.
Right.
If you and it's $100 more than it was a year ago. The entry level is $800, but I wouldn't recommend the entry level because the bigger zoom is on the top of the line.
And this from Vicky in Sausalito. My old crib is in Sausalito. I'm pretty sure that Jefferson gets all these new gadgets for free for reviewing them. Did you? What's the story on that?
They did send it at no charge for review. It will be going back. But I would have bought it in a second. But sometimes you have to, if you get the review model, you get it faster than you would get it if you had paid for it. So I will be buying it, and I do have many, many devices in this house that I paid for as well.
So sort of true, but also true that he's sending it back. So it's not quite a fair bust on Jefferson Graham.
If you want to get the early edition to let people know about it, you need to get the review unit.
Yeah. So now, if I'm convinced and I want to go out and get the iPhone 15, top of the line, as you say, it's got the zoom and the this and the that, what is the wait time on it? What's the most expeditious way to get it?
The last I looked, it was mid-November.
Wow.
It was sold through mid-November. I would get in touch with your carrier and see if they could make you a better deal, because they are working overtime trying to convince you that you can get a free phone with them, which of course you can't, but you might get a nice discount.
Do you get a discount? I'm with Verizon. How do they rank in the
not even $1. Not even $1.
My God.
But the only thing, Mark, that you get.
Don't get it.
I don't get it.
You don't.
I don't. No, I don't.
Mark, you'll get to pay it over time, over 3 years.
Right.
And
won't feel as bad, you're saying?
But T-Mobile substantially discounted, and AT&T sort of discounted.
Is there, just while we're on it, are they all about the same? Are they? What do you choose your carrier based on? Based on what?
I could start this game with you, Mark. I bet I pay half as much as you do with T-Mobile. Do you know how much you're paying, my friend?
Per month?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
How much?
$151.
$80.
Wow. That's great. And you're with T-Mobile?
Yeah, 2 people.
Wow. I've got to.
You just don't get it.
I don't know.
You don't.
I always end up in these conversations with Jefferson Graham, and he's ending up paying substantially less. Hang on a second. So you think T-Mobile is what I need?
Whatever it is, Mark's paying double whatever I pay, no matter what.
You know what's interesting to me, just in basic sort of news you can use, hopefully for our audience, is that when we come to evaluating these things, I think oftentimes you're going, well, does this one have an international calling plan or whatever? You start creating these scenarios. Why, Mark? Are you like what? Are you ambassador to France all of a sudden? Why do you need an international calling plan? You begin this evaluative process that has nothing to do with your actual lifestyle. What should you evaluate on? Only dollars and cents? Your monthly charge? Unlimited data? Unlimited data, right?
Yeah, and as far as the international plan, my friend, you have to pay $10 a day with Verizon when you go internationally. I don't pay anything with T-Mobile, and I have the experience. I went to France, I went to Japan, I went to Mexico, and in Canada, did not get charged and get to continue using the phone in those international areas.
This is outrageous. This is outrageous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I pay $65.47 with AT&T, says Mackay.
Okay, for one person?
Yeah, for one person, I guess. Well, that's, and you, in this case, have 2 people on your plan.
Right, $80 for 2 people.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Well, I need to do something, clearly. This is a cold slap in the face.
We can get you new internet coverage as well.
Yeah, I've got a lot of work to do, but hopefully along the way in this conversation, many of us have learned. So, iPhone 15, yep, get it. Try to get it to your carrier for the best deal.
Yeah.
And, Wow. Look at this quickly. I'm going to Ecuador. I've heard
To buy an
if I buy an
unlocked phone.
unlocked phone from Apple Store. What is the story on that?
Always
can
buy
buy
an
an
unlocked phone. Always.
Okay.
Because if you buy a phone that's only for the Verizon network and then you switch to T-Mobile, you can't use it. If you buy an
Okay.
unlocked version, you could use it anywhere you want.
And they'll
So,
let
yeah.
you buy that doesn't require any kind of, okay. Yeah.
There's four models are available: a Verizon model, an AT&T model, a T-Mobile model, or an unlocked. Always choose
Okay.
the unlocked.
And at T-Mobile, you can still buy an unlocked version.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Verizon and AT&T. Actually, I'm not sure if the carriers will sell you an unlocked version, but the Apple will definitely sell you an unlocked version. Check the
Well,
website.
Okay. I mean, to be honest, if you're going to T-Mobile to get a good deal and they won't send you the unlocked version, then it's not a good deal anymore, right? Because you're going to be on a T-Mobile unlocked phone. Am I right?
Yeah, but you could always resell it later.
Okay. And finally, one person, Mark, are you sure you're not adding in internet access? Is internet access?
No,
doesn't that
that's
come
from
with everything?
Spectrum. You're paying
Oh, I
for
see.
Spectrum for that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. From Spectrum, I absolutely am paying for internet access. You're right. But I need internet access. Right now, we're on Spectrum to connect with putting the show up. So anyway, that's interesting. Well, this has been interesting, and it's not the end. Quickly touch base on Amazon, will you? You had mentioned they've got some new...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Department of Justice, the United States government is suing Amazon for being a anti-competitive monopolist, and specifically, they're looking at all the ways that they have house brands that undercut others, and that they sell similar products of others, as opposed just being a retailer. And I say, yeah.
There's no question they are. Isn't it?
Yeah.
They are monopolists.
Right. Take a look at Main Street. Take a look at how Main Street has changed, and look at how all the businesses that have been struggling in the Amazon era. So
Well,
I think yeah.
It goes even beyond that. I mean, I could say, well, look at Main Street. Look, it's hurt Main Street because you can get a lot of stuff on the internet, and it's just an easier. It's a frictionless process. There's fewer barriers to getting whatever you want. Yeah, that in itself doesn't mean monopoly, but something that you're very familiar with, I'm sure, because you've dealt with Amazon for so many years and evaluated their practices, commercial practices, is they will bust down the price of. The baby diaper thing is the famous example where they essentially sell baby diapers at a wild discount, well below cost. They drive the other diaper manufacturers down and companies down as well in cost, but they can't possibly discount to the degree that Amazon is. They put them out of business, or they buy, Amazon does, those diaper companies. Everything is consolidated, and then they jack the cost of diapers back up. I mean, that is pure monopolist behavior. And that happens across the board beyond baby diapers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. And it's great that the DOJ is finally stepping in.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, they're also suing Google for monopoly. I don't think the case on Google is as strong as the one on Amazon. It's just not as clear cut.
We have a great guest next week on just this fact, not limited to tech. It's somebody who speaks about monopolies in America and how this merger and acquisition culture has led to where we are. But love talking to you, Jeff. Was that it? Was anything? Am I leaving anything out on the table?
Just two quick things. I am about to go on another PhotoWalks TV trip tomorrow morning, going to Maine and Nova Scotia. Going to do some fall colors. I'll be shooting lots of photos and making videos. And I have packed up 27 mobile accessory devices, because I do every episode on the iPhone or on other phones as well. And people always ask me, well, what about the accessories? So I will be live at 5 o'clock California time today, showing off exactly what I'll be bringing.
I love that. All right. It's right there at PhotoWalks TV, right here on this platform if you're watching on YouTube. And check out Jeff's Substack, jeffersongraham.substack.com. Love our visits. Have a safe trip, and looking forward to some great pictures always. Thanks, Jeff.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Wow. Guess I'm paying too much for a lot of stuff. Well, there's Jeff's banner. Can probably get that off the screen and we can proceed. Can't seem to find the thing to get it off. Thank you. Kim?
Yes.
We've gotten a lot into this first hour. Two
Really,
very
it's kind
solid guests.
Jam-packed.
I will tell you that today, typically on Tuesdays, David Cay Johnston joins us. He will not be here today. He's overseas, as you know. He's in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
He's at a theater production right now.
In Berlin.
In Berlin. Mm-hmm. Mark, I'd like to join you, but I'm at a theater production. You know, one of my favorite people in the world is a German guy. And I want him to come on here.
Just so we can make fun of his accent?
No, his accent makes everything he says more charming.
Okay.
It's the magic of a foreign accent. You know, Americans, we love people with foreign accents. We just do.
Yeah.
The British accent, oh my God. I mean, people have been coming over with that British accent since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And they've been able to get whatever the hell they want from us because it just sounds so classy. It sounds so sophisticated. And the reality is they're just like the rest of us, of course. But there's something charming about this guy and his German accent. And you will meet him because he has some great stories. And I had already intended to have him on as a guest, so we just have to coordinate it. But so when as you say, you mentioned Berlin, and I do a little bit of the, faux German accent, I think of him. So that's something to see in the future. Look, I've got a lot still to come. I've got a big Law and Disorder that's magical. And there is nudity in the next hour. That's all I wanted to say.
What?
I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to, maybe
nudity.
Yeah.
Do we have to put the parental warning on the Mark Thompson show?
No, it's a TV show, but it's still coming up.
Hubba.
Mark means European accents. I don't think so. I think the Aussie rules. You Aussies are the perfect example. You come over here with your accents and before you know it, you're having sex with all the women. That's the way it is. It's true. The girls love the accent.
Yes, we do. I love when Belinda comes on because I love what she says, but I also just love listening to her.
Yeah, and that's New Zealand.
Karen Dawn is the same way. I'm not sure what her accent is from, but love it.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like, tell me you love me, but do it with an accent.
Yeah.
It's just great. All right. Kim's News. Smash the like button like a boss, if you would.
It with your iron rod.
Yeah. Give us a thumbs up if you would. It helps us in the YouTube universe. We haven't hit you for money today. There have been contributions, though, along the way. I wanted to recognize them.
Yeah.
Dave. Hope you feel better soon. Tony, come on. Tony. Dave.
Thanks, Tony.
With a shout out. That's really, really cool, Dave. $10. Yeah. Hope you feel better. Mike Hendricks, a regular supporter. Come on, Mike. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Really, really cool, Mike. Thanks for the 10 spot. Yeah. We really appreciate it, and we really need it. And Kathleen Marshall, wait a minute.
What?
God bless you, Mark, with love. Ken, Dad, Marie, Mom, and me. We think your show and you are awesome. Keep up the good work. Wow. Your dad, Ken, your mom, Marie, and you, Kathleen, with a 50 spot. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Come on, Kim.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not
Family
gonna cry.
contribution. That's nice.
I'm not going to, but
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
I'd like to do something, though, Kim, if I might. Kathleen, you, Ken, and Marie, your mom.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Yes. I'd like you all to do nothing but simply receive.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Exactly. You only need receive. You need do nothing more.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
It is good for life you receive the rod of equity and mercy. Yes. So sweet. Thank you for the 50. I think the other contributors had already received the rod of equity and mercy, just to head off some kind of clerical question in the future.
Yeah.
If it's possible, if Mike hasn't received it, I believe it was Mike and who else? The other person who donated, who was it, Tony, who wished you well? The
Dave.
$10 donation, I believe. What was it?
Dave. That was Dave.
Dave, yeah. So Dave and Mike, I think they both received it already. But if not, let me know and I shall, yeah. Now you may say, are you telling me you can buy the blessing of the rod of equity and mercy for $50? That's exactly what I'm saying, everybody. That's exactly what I'm saying. And Joe Fong, come on, another 50 from Joe.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm not going to cry. This is wild. We hadn't planned on doing a... This is
nice.
really helpful.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you, Joe. You need do nothing, Joe.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, settle in and simply receive.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
I know what you're saying. You're saying this one moment can't possibly sustain me for my entire life. I'm going to need to have it redone. A booster rod of equity and mercy. No, you will not. The rod of equity and mercy lasts a lifetime.
That's it.
$50 for equity and mercy seems like a good deal, the Surface Spin says. Wes, big shout out to Wes. Thank you for the 5 spot.
Big shout out.
All right, guys, we've got to move along. I've got to get to some Kim news.
Yeah.
And then lots going on. Mark Thompson Show. Thank you for all your generosity and for support of the show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. Well, President Biden is indeed in Michigan, and here he is meeting with the leadership for the United Auto Workers and going onto the line, grabbing a bullhorn to tell striking workers they deserve a significant pay raise as automakers like Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis have raked in record profits. Today's visit, the first time a sitting U.S. president has stood on the picket line alongside workers. So a history-making moment for President Biden. Congress is running out of time to avoid a government shutdown this week. Unfortunately, the House is expected to vote later today on a series of key funding bills. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, pictured here, may be lacking the necessary support.
Pictured here in one of the 5 nastiest pictures you could find of Kevin McCarthy.
I do find some good ones, that's for sure. A small group of hardline Republicans have been blocking legislation in an effort to force deep spending cuts. Another fine photo of this fellow, he of the gold bars. That's right. More prominent Democrats are urging New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez to resign after he was indicted on federal bribery charges. The fellow New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is adding his voice to the chorus now, saying there is really a higher standard for public officials. Senators Tammy Baldwin, John Tester, and Bob Casey urge Menendez to step down today as well. Doesn't look like he's going for it, though.
No, he's pretty steadfast in his steadfast would be a ding word. He's pretty steadfast in his defense of himself, and he did serve up that BS explanation which we knocked down both earlier today with Jim Avila, and we knocked it down yesterday.
I mean, doesn't everybody have hundreds of thousands of dollars shoved into their jacket pockets? No?
Yeah, you don't believe in banks, and the gold bars. That's interesting. I don't know. It's as Kim, I thought, effectively made the argument yesterday. Well, great if you've just taken it out of the bank and those gold bars are something that you purchased out of some sort of paranoia that the system of currency is going down. At least he is on the gold standard. Everybody, that is it's something you should have receipts for. So we'll look forward to those receipts, and then you're off the hook.
That's right. Show me the receipts, show me the paper trail, and then we can all look away, right? Go on, do your business for the great state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
TV viewers may see some of their favorite shows back on the air soon once the Hollywood writers' strike officially comes to an end. Variety magazine reports late-night talk shows could be back on the air by the week of October 2nd or October 9th, depending on how all this goes. Some producers reportedly hope to be back in business as early as this week as well. The city of Oakland today, the scene of some closed down businesses. More than 200 businesses in Oakland closing their doors for at least part of today. Businesses across the city are holding a one-day strike, remaining closed to protest what the owners say is a massive increase in crime. Businesses plan to shut down 10 a.m. to noon-ish, so I think some should be reopening as we speak. They're bringing attention to this issue. The small business owners say the city just is not doing enough to stop the rising crime rates. Local leaders say they are working on the issue. They're adding more police officers in high crime areas. They're bringing in outside forces like the FBI to assist. Can't happen fast enough, though.
It can't happen fast enough, and I'm with the business owners. I mean, and what they're saying, the city is saying, is true. There is outside help coming in, but look, it's not getting here in fast enough and in numbers that really are mattering. It's very hard to run a business now in Oakland and San Francisco. San Jose as well has been affected by this. This is a problem affecting the Bay Area and a lot of other major cities. Los Angeles has the same issue. Crime is challenging business owners in ways they really haven't seen in the modern age.
No, and some of these businesses are getting hit over and over and over again with, these plate glass windows are really expensive. And so you have, windows getting smashed night after night, and businesses are having to close down because they're getting robbed over and over again, or damaged or vandalized over and over again. What's to be done to help them?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So there you have that. Yeah. Book bannings in California. Governor Gavin Newsom signing a bill into law that prohibits school districts in the state from banning books. This bill, also sponsored by State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurmond, who, by the way, today also announced he's running for governor, was written in response to the growing number of school districts opting not to use textbooks that reference sexual preference, transgender, or other LGBTQ-related subject matters. The schools that violate the new law can be fined, no word yet, if the law will be challenged in court. But I think we all know that's the next step, right? The Marietta Broncos, a youth football coach under arrest after allegedly punching and knocking out a 14-year-old player. Police say the adult coach of the Marietta Broncos left the sideline during a game on Saturday and attacked a Paris Panthers player whose mother is still in shock. She told NBCLA that her son suffered a seizure and a concussion after getting punched in the head. The coach has now been suspended and banned from the Marietta Broncos. The Paris Panthers youth football team wants the Marietta Youth Football League banned from play. So
wow.
This is kind of turning into a big to-do.
I mean, it's a big deal. It is a big deal. When you jump out of the stands and you run onto the field and start. Is that what happened? I mean, right?
From the sideline was the coach. Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean.
Yeah, that seems behavior. Like there should be some price to pay for that, right? I mean,
should be a big price to pay, but I don't know if you make the kids on the team pay for it. Right.
Yeah, the coach should be immediately.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he should be removed, and
that's it. He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about vaping. A lot of people think no big deal on the whole vaping situation, but that's not what is being shown by a new study. It's never been considered healthy, vaping, but this study shows that it's more dangerous than people realize. Researchers at the Texas A&M School of Public Health say they found a link between e-cigarettes and asthma. It found that vaping increases the risk of asthma in adolescents by 32%. Nearly 2 in 3 American teenagers admit to experiencing with vaping. Experimenting, rather. Yeah.
Not to mention, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's choking down that vape while she's watching a performance of Beetlejuice.
Oh, Marge, what are you
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But the study, it's interesting, Kim did not mention this, was authored by Emil Schulthausen.
Yeah. All good studies come from him, for sure.
Exactly.
Not doing so well over there at Meta's Threads. They're struggling to keep up with X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. You know, if you're sinking below X, you've got to be doing something wrong.
Wow.
The social media app designed to compete with X is now ranking near the bottom of the most popular social media apps. That according to Insider's Intelligence First Threads forecast. It uses
Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters.
Yeah, the cheapies on Threads. Let's talk about it.
It uses the number of U.S. users to make up the list. The Threads had a big debut at first because of the easy sign-up process for Instagram users and as a mainstream alternative to the Elon Musk-led X, but it now ranks ahead of only Tumblr.
Yeah, wow.
Ouchies.
We talked about it on the show when it first came out that it was exactly as Kim said. It was the ease of sign up. I mean, it just essentially you migrate all of those Instagram users over to Threads, but how many of them are actually posting? Instagram is not a place with a lot of politics. It's not a place with a lot of the sort of rancorous conversation that you have on Twitter /X. And so it's no wonder that it's fallen back. You know, but it's the one thing I would say, its resurgence may actually come as Musk turns Twitter into a kind of paywall place. If you have to pay to use
barren
X,
wasteland? Yes.
I would guess that people are going to migrate back over to Threads. We'll see.
People are going to be like, I'm not going to pay you for that. You already took my privacy and you can't give it back. No. Golden Globe Awards will feature 2 new categories next year. Awards for Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievement and Best Performance in a Stand-Up Comedy on Television will be handed out at the 81st edition of the ceremony in January. So the Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievement will feature 8 nominees who have earned $150 million or more at the global box office, including $100 million in the United States. The Golden Globe said these films have typically not been recognized among industry awards, but that they should be. Meanwhile, the new Comedy Award will recognize stand-up comedy performances of at least 30 minutes made for television.
So this is wouldn't you say, a way to begin to reconstitute the Golden Globes, which I'll remind you were bought, and they were bought from the Hollywood Foreign Press, as the Hollywood Foreign Press was essentially dissolved. And they're now trying to turn the Golden Globe Awards into not only what they were, where people were kind of getting a little bit sauced and, you know, the awards were kind of loose. Ricky Gervais hosted them for multiple iterations. But now they're trying to make them more popular. That's why you have box office in there. That's why you have that sitcom thing in there. It's a way to make the public more connected to this award show, wouldn't you say, Kim?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol involved.
And maybe there's some alcohol involved, too.
Yeah. This report is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you for supporting the show. Please check us out at themarkthompsonshow.com. It is themarkthompsonshow.com. Yes, you see what I did there with the and the, and I don't regret it. Yeah. Themarkthompsonshow.com, the Patreon link, the PayPal link, it's all there for you. So we thank you very much. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
Feels great, baby.
Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters.
No context will suffice to explain the hurt and anguish caused by my words. I apologize to all who have been hurt.
I stand corrected. I misspoke. My words upset so many people.
And I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community.
God bless America. The end.
There's never been anything like this. Do I hit it long? Is Trump strong? Huh?
Who is having that conversation?
It's fantastic.
That's not fake. That's real.
The science is ridiculous.
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir. If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Listen to me. I don't want to hear you.
You
cannot say you love your country.
Where are my weed smokers at?
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
There is no defense for my conduct. It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
Don't ever use that word.
You get nothing.
What's a guilty pleasure you have?
Seriously, what the
Yeah, what is up? We are on. It is way cool to have you in the mix. If you're just joining us, this is a show that came from the radio originally. We migrated it to YouTube, and I want to acknowledge all the people who support us. Wait a minute. Sandy McPartlin? Sandy McPartlin. First, I want to give you a big shout out.
Big shout out.
Acknowledge your 20. Thank you for the super sticker, and I want to say it with a British accent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And is that Hula?
Hula.
Hula Steph, thank you for the 10 spot.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. Thank you so much. Or as we like to say, thank you so much. And Lulu Lancaster, wait a minute. For the 1 year anniversary from Lulu? Are you kidding me? Wait a minute,
Are you gonna,
Kim.
I see you tearing up there.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Do you need a tissue?
$100 effing dollars. Are you kidding me? Congrats to you, Mark, Kim, Albert, and Tony on the 1 year anniversary. Wow.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I have to say, it's so clearly cry territory. Lulu Lancaster, wow. Yes, Lulu. Yes.
Huge kindness. Thank you.
Huge kindness, Lulu. And if you haven't yet, I'd like for you to receive.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Again, Lulu, you need to do nothing but receive.
This thing is ready to pop, people.
How dare you, Kim? Let me get through the rod, please.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
I'm sorry, Lulu, for that outburst on the part of Kim. Lulu, congratulations on receiving the rod, and thank you for your donation. Love all of our super sticker and super chat people. Wow, you guys really stepped up. So cool. Kelly Malloy, what up, Kelly Malloy?
Big shout out.
Shout out. Thank you for a deuce. Appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you, my lifelong dream.
Oh, to be in the rod, to have the rod of equity and mercy. Yeah.
Indeed. And that is it's a dream-worthy goal, might I say. So, congratulations. Lifetime appointment, Lulu. No age limit. And there's no reduction of that magical blessing. Every year, it doesn't diminish at all. So, I didn't see this. Did you see this from Doug? Can you Google this?
Yeah, I will.
Doug says, how about Vince Neil being rushed off stage because of the shooting at the concert?
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. We'll look at that.
Yeah, we'll check it out. We'll check it out.
Google it.
Yeah, we'll Google it. There is a lot going on, and again, I didn't mean to get. Thank you so much for the donations. I didn't mean to get too off on this, but I do want to say that if you want to be among those who send us actual greetings for the show, you can send us a 1 year anniversary greeting, a short video or audio, less than 30 seconds. To happyanniversarymts@gmail.com. Again, it's our 1 year anniversary coming up in a few weeks. We wanted something where the audience could send us something for free. So here it is. A short video or audio, less than 30 seconds, please, to happyanniversarymts@gmail.com. And Tony will... among the things that Tony does, his magic superpower is putting together video, audio, and he'll make it all nice. So we appreciate it in advance, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Poor Tony's not feeling well today, but
fine.
He'll make it work. So
Thanks, Tony.
Happy anniversary, MTS@gmail.com if you want to wish us a happy 1 year anniversary. There will be a meetup. There will be a special anniversary meetup. Details on that still to come. But do want to mention that it is happening. By now, you might be aware of a couple of these things, but I still think it's kind of worth getting into. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
The one thing that you probably know, and, you know, this is being talked about as Donald Trump said he wanted to buy a gun, but he's not allowed to buy a gun. He tried to buy a gun, but he wasn't allowed. He didn't try to buy a gun. I mean, Trump's a lot of stuff, and one thing he is a headlines maker no matter what he does. He was handling a handgun. I guess he was handling a gun that had his name on it. Isn't that what it was, Kim?
Didn't he say he wanted a Glock? He's like,
yeah, he loves the Glock. Glock's so great. I want to buy one, is what he said.
Yeah.
But he's under felony indictment, and so he wouldn't be allowed to
yeah.
buy a firearm, of course.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to buy a firearm anyway. You know, he's got 30 guys around him that we're paying for, the Secret Service, you know, that for life. Yeah. And Donald Trump said he wanted to buy a handgun. That's not technically wrong. He's not allowed to. Yeah. Again, no one who is under felony indictment where the penalty can be over a year, I believe it is, can buy a handgun. But anyway, he makes headlines with that move. But Corey Lewandowski, who is the former White House aide to Donald Trump, he was the campaign manager, he is now part of this Louisiana gubernatorial nomination. He is, I guess he's advising. What's happening with this? He essentially, here it is. The hiring of former Donald Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski by a Republican seeking Louisiana gubernatorial nomination has set off a firestorm that has a major donor not only demanding his money back, but also urging voters to not vote for the candidate that hired Corey Lewandowski. Aspiring GOP candidate Jeff Landry brought on the controversial Lewandowski as an advisor to his campaign. That led to the leading donor to his campaign, Jeff Landry's campaign, a guy named John Odom, already contributed $100,000, and he has completely lost it. Why would Odom be so angry about Lewandowski? Is it because Lewandowski is this kind of sleazy guy who's done underhanded things, like rough up those who didn't agree with Donald Trump at rallies, or reporters who were trying to ask questions of the candidate at that time, Donald Trump? No. At issue is the fact that Odom's former wife was on the receiving end of unwanted sexual advances by Lewandowski in Las Vegas in 2021. Lewandowski was later charged with misdemeanor battery. He cut a plea deal with Nevada prosecutors. Under that deal, the political strategist agreed to pay a $1,000 fine, undergo impulse control training, serve 50 hours community service, and stay out of trouble for a year. In exchange, he wouldn't have to admit guilt. But Odom is saying that he was deeply disappointed and disgusted by Jeff Landry, again, he's the GOP candidate in Louisiana, his decision to hire Corey Lewandowski. Odom is saying that Lewandowski was unfit to serve in any capacity in any political campaign. I urge Landry to reconsider his decision, Odom said. So Landry was the attorney general since 2016, and now he is going for governor. And Lewandowski is the source of some issues with that. Levi's Stadium made $8.8 million in non-NFL events last fiscal year. Levi's Stadium, everyone, is near San Francisco, but closer to San Jose.
Santa Clara, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Santa Clara.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a chunk of change. 8.8
Levi's Stadium, they made $8.8 million in non-NFL events this last fiscal year. Santa Clara, which, as Kim says, is where it is, will get how much of the $8.8 million in non-NFL events last fiscal year will Santa Clara get? How much of the $8.8 million that Levi's Stadium brought in? In their deal with Santa Clara, how much will Santa Clara get of that $8.8 million? A lot of these stadiums make deals with municipalities and cities, and then cities participate in profits and in revenues that the stadium brings in exchange for all kinds of other considerations. Any guesses as to how much? $1 million, says Vanessa. 0, says Randy. 0, says Kathleen Bryant. 3.2, says Joseph. Of the 8.8 raked in profits, these are profits for NFL, for non-NFL events that had nothing to do with the NFL.
Like
the answer
Taylor
is
Swift
indeed
concert,
Yeah, Taylor Swift concert. Thank you. That's it. The answer is indeed 0. Yes. Nothing.
That doesn't seem fair.
The team manages the city-owned stadium for non-NFL events. The 49ers. Though Levi Stadium did rake in $8.8 million in profits for non-NFL events last year, no money from that will go to the city's general fund because of ongoing legal disputes with the San Francisco 49ers. The team, Niners, manages this stadium, as I was saying, for non-NFL events, and roughly half of those profits typically go back into the stadium authority. That's the body that oversees Levi Stadium. The rest supposed to flow to the city's general fund to cover libraries, public safety, parks, that kind of thing. That didn't happen in the 2022-23 fiscal year that ended on March 31st. During that time, the stadium hosted 7 ticketed non-NFL events. These are kind of what Kim is talking about. 6 concerts that included Coldplay and Elton John, and a soccer match, and 69 large-scale non-ticketed special events like corporate parties. When looking at the budget, Finance Director Ken Lee told the council that the city's legal team opted to put Santa Clara's half of the profits into a legal contingency fund because of potential liabilities that may occur depending on the outcome of the arbitration with the 49ers. They may need that money to write a check. There is a long history of litigation between these two parties. The 49ers, the last fiscal year, stadium racked up $5.7 in public safety costs for the Niners games. $4.6 million of that came from direct city costs. A little over $1 million from outside agencies. This dispute between the city and the Niners is over the cap on annual public safety costs because the actual costs of security have gone over that cap. There's been a years-long debate over who should pay for any overages for football games. What should the cost of a football game be to the city? So this is going on. The mayor has weighed in. This was to be a benefit to the city, all of this additional revenue from Levi Stadium, and now it turns out that because of these ongoing litigation moments, there won't be anything coming in. So that's that. The infamous UK dating show, Naked Attraction.
Ooh, this is where the nudity comes in, eh?
That's right.
Yeah, all right.
It's the craziest S I ever watched on TV.
What?
Yeah. Naked Attraction featuring full frontal nudity, which is
wow.
How dare you, Albert? Makes its U.S. debut on HBO Max. Was it greeted with open arms and excitement? Not so much. Of course, this is the nation of puritanical, what would I call it, Kim?
Values?
No. It's a facade of Puritanism, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Facade, maybe? All right. Contestants first show their feet and calves. Then a screen slowly reveals the G word.
You don't like to say it?
Rhymes with smenitals. Starts with a G.
Do you want me to say it for you?
torso, breast area, then finally their face during each round. The full-on nudity, while received relatively well in the United Kingdom, has caused a stir after making its way on HBO Max. I guess you can see it now on HBO Max. Naked Attraction has graced screens across the pond for 7 years. 6 naked people are showcased to one contestant who gets to whittle down their choices and eventually go on a date with their favorite. Contestants first show their feet and calves, then slowly the screen comes up and you see the schmenitals, the torso, the breast area. Yeah.
All the parts, all the good stuff.
Yeah. While critiquing the naked... What?
At least you know what you're going to get ahead of time. There's no, let's get to know you. At least there's a, hey, look.
Yeah, well.
Am I interested in that piece of gear? Nope.
So much for he's got a good personality, or she's got a good personality.
Not interested. Next.
While critiquing the naked male or female bodies, the person picking their date also strips down to put things on an equal footing. So
of course.
Yeah, the stripping is mutual. The full-on nudity, while received relatively well in the UK, as I say, is not being received well in this nation. My goodness. Closer to God is where we had, and God is ashamed of our bodies.
So we're going to throw a bachelor up, and we're going to have however many women, 20 women. Oh, pick me, and that's okay. But nudity is not okay. Come on.
It's a weird culture for sure. People insinuated that it was an American problem with the UK being more open to such ideas. And that does appear to be, on some level, what's going on. One American viewer said, quote, "My sister just put me on to this Naked Attraction show, and this is the craziest ass I've ever watched on TV. I would definitely love to be judged naked before a shorty sees my face, hears my voice. Seems liberating AF. As F."
Yeah.
The View host Whoopi Goldberg weighed in.
Okay, what's Whoopi say?
Did you really just do that?
People actually want to see this? That's what she said. Apparently.
Yeah. She's going to have to apologize
Did you really
again.
just do that?
Yeah, that Whoopi kept it, yeah. Anyway.
I stand corrected.
So, look, it's on a pay service, which is HBO Max, so there's that.
You want to watch it? Watch it. I'm going to watch it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to click onto HBO Max and see what that's about after the kids go to bed. Let's see it all. Show it all.
I will tell you that I wasn't sure that I was going to talk about this, but now I am. I'm going to tell you something. I've changed my mind on something pretty big time, and it's related to what we're talking about.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It came up, I want to say, a week ago, or maybe a little over a week ago, 10 days or 2 weeks ago. And Kim, you may fill in a couple of the gaps here for me, please. But the congressional race in Virginia, is it, where the Democratic candidate was involved in an OnlyFans kind of thing, scandal, where she was...
Delaware. It was the state of Delaware, state representative
Delaware
for Delaware, and she was on a site called Chatterbait.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was doing the nasty with her husband, apparently, as people paid to watch.
Right. And I felt it fell into the category of, once again, a sort of puritanism that we have in this nation. We're not good with anything, and that stinks, and I don't care what she does in her spare time, but she should be able to run for public office. And I've now changed my mind.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why I changed my mind. Because there was an article in some, it was a reference to it in some magazine I was reading, or something I was reading over the weekend. I've been sitting with this for a few days, so maybe it was last week. But anyway, I thought, and it's really kind of funny because I thought, well, it's late. I think I just had done an edible or something. I think my head was just kind of spinning. I'm kind of like, and
girl,
so
you just woo.
Right. And so I thought, Mark, you're so opinionated about this. You so feel that she should have the right to run, and that we're a puritanical nation, and this is crap, and this is, and if she wants to be, quote, indecent in her spare time, she should be able to do it and do whatever she wants. And why are we that you should, maybe reconsider this. I mean, how bad was this? So I actually went on and looked at it.
Did you?
Dude,
Wow.
I couldn't watch the whole thing. I couldn't watch I'm a guy, and I couldn't watch it. Now, admittedly, I may be, whatever, a hung up guy or whatever you want to say, but I mean.
No, you seem pretty
Dude, trust me, I've seen nasty stuff, but I couldn't watch. I watched maybe a couple of minutes of it, and I said, I'm done. No, absolutely not. She does not belong in the public discourse.
What was so
it's
bad?
Sad.
Was it more than just the SES?
It was more than just. It was more than just the act of rolling around. It was,
okay.
and it was. I'm sorry, and again, I don't think anything they did was gross. Even if you want to watch it and want a public display of, you call it fun, you can call it sexuality, you can call it all this different things. It's fine. I've got no issue with it. You know where I am on this, but I do have a problem because of our society and culture and the way it is. It's not their fault in a sense. Right. It's just the way they are trying to fit into the culture in both ways. And
that was my point a few days ago, is like, you won't be taken seriously. Because who can look at her now after, if they saw that, I haven't, but you have, and think of anything but that.
It was an absolute, I think, buttressing of your point. I think you were absolutely right. You weren't judging them.
I love you right now.
Yeah, it was absolutely. you were 100% right about that. Yeah. So
I have some information about the story that Doug was talking about Vince Neil.
Oh, hang on a second.
Talk about that.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Here's a Vince Neil update from Kim.
Yeah, he was. He's the lead singer of Motley Crue, and they were performing at the Oklahoma State Fair on Saturday night. And there were gunshots that were fired in the crowd at the fairgrounds. And so about 3/4 of the way through the set, people started running. This is what Vince Neil wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. He said, "We were told, get in a dressing room. There were shooters shooting people. Thank you, fans, for understanding." So they ran out and they hid in the dressing room, I guess. One person was injured when a fight broke out between two groups of people at this fairground event. Everyone went running for safety. Again, one person injured. The band is okay. They're still looking for some suspects. They were able to at least get some of the set out before all this happened. He said, "Thankfully, we're all okay. Thanks to everyone who came out. Please stay safe." So, that happened at the Oklahoma State Fair.
So, I'm sorry, were there shots fired?
Yeah, there was shots fired in the crowd.
Oh, man. One
person injured. Sorry, if I was confusing about that. Yeah, that happened.
No, I think I was I'm looking at some comments at the same time, so I'm sorry. I see your apology and raise with my apology. Well, that's good news that Vince Neil, a national treasure, is okay. On the question of the politician and what she did in her spare time, raising money, being part of that. Randy disagrees with me. I let the voters decide. Well, that was my view originally, Randy, and now I'm saying, of course, let the voters. I'm not saying that she should be barred from the ballot. I'm not suggesting that there should be some kind of legal action or there should be rules that. What I'm suggesting is, from a practical standpoint, she should not enter the race. It's completely discordant. It's completely contrary to that way that she's going to actually make it into the legislature. It's completely doesn't work.
From what I've read about her, it seems like, other than this whole situation, she might have been a pretty viable candidate. She's a nurse practitioner. She is supportive of women's rights, reproductive rights, at a time when it's critical in that state, and laws are coming down, or special votes are coming down there where she's needed. So, I mean, I feel like someone that can actually win that race in that party with those similar stances on the issues needs to step in quickly.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me in the sense that she's, it would appear quite competent. I mean, I'm not suggesting that, it's not as though all she does is screw around with her husband on these websites all day. She's a highly competent, I'm sure, thoughtful, reflective person who sadly has done this thing that, as I suggest, is at odds with a political aspiration. It's sad, but it's just the way the country is wired. And that's why I just see it as a problem.
If you knew you were going to run, which this whole thing that she did online wasn't too far out from when she's, ran for office. If you know there's a possibility that you're going to run and people are going to be looking into your past and who you are, everything else, then why would you make that choice to do that? It doesn't make sense to me.
The only thing you could do if you just wanted a high ground, and this is just, but you would be, I don't know, you could float, my husband made me do it. I wasn't, you could blame, you can have a family meeting and say, hey, the only way we're going to get there is if I blame you and throw you under the bus. Sorry. And you could do it that way. But I think it better just to, get out of it. Yeah. But Pinky says, but Boebert is fine.
Yeah. But Boebert is fine. Like, this lady's not, but Boebert is? Really?
No, exactly right. Yeah. Boebert is in a public display of, of a grope fest there in like the 9th row of that was unbelievable. It really was. I mean, it just speaks to the, there's
crass
sort of unrestrained way that she lives her life, Lauren Boebert, but the ridiculous, severe way that she judges others might be the best way to put it. But anyway, it's, I guess she did something, Movado TG for the 50 as a superstar. Are you kidding me?
Big shout out.
Big shout out, first of all, TG. What does it say? Movado drop, por favor?
Yeah.
Movado watch. Love you, Mark and crew. Happy anniversary, TG.
You can buy a Movado watch in Sam's.
Yeah, right on. How about I give you an extra one?
You can buy a Movado watch in Sam's.
Yeah, you love it. TG. Man, getting me 50 on a day I need it. Yeah. Tom Malloy with a 3-spot. Big shout out, Tom Malloy. And Pinky with $1 a day. Thank you for the super sticker. Wow. By the way, just because we were talking about Marjorie Taylor, Tom Gunn, my favorite gun is the Tom gun. Happy anniversary. I've been dubbed already. That means, I believe...
Big shout out.
He's already received the rod.
The rod of
yes.
equity.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
All right, Tom. Not going to cry. Thank you, though. 50. Wow, Tom.
Thank you
so
much.
Tom, thank you, everybody. Yeah. Stepping up a little bit. I was just mentioning Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. Boebert always makes me think of Greene, and Boebert was the one misbehaving in the audience. Then that makes me think of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's just misbehaving in every way she can. Of course, she is a jihadist congresswoman, as you're aware. And she, I guess for Yom Kippur, which is yesterday, the far-right Republican congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, used an image to suggest blessings for the holiday, or whatever she was trying to say.
Well, that's nice.
She used a Hanukkah menorah in an attempt to commemorate it.
What?
Yes, it is.
It was a nice thought. It's the wrong holiday.
Yeah. Right.
I stand corrected.
Yes. There it is, Yom Kippur or Yom Kippur. She posted this message on X, and she tried to add a traditional Yom Kippur greeting, but misspelled it, apparently, which is forgivable if you're not, of the faith, or, you don't follow it. But she did not get any love from the community that she was giving the shout out to. And I guess she's made some, anti-Semitic remarks. Was she the one with the Jewish space lasers? Is that her?
I think she was the space lasers, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean...
My words upset so many people.
Yeah, it's hard because you did upset them to get that back to Magnetic North. She did delete the original post with the menorah.
Too late.
Without an apology. She could have just gone with a whoopee apology.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? But she didn't do that.
Oh.
Yeah, she said, Jewish space she got owned on X. Ms. Jewish Space Lasers got her Jewish holidays mixed up. Wildly offensive, they say, especially on the holiest day of the year. That is true. It's not like you just confused on any day.
Right.
That's a real solemn day in the Jewish faith.
Oh.
It's, you're supposed to reflect on your life and, on those failings and shortcomings you have and all that. And so it's not good to screw with that.
Happy Easter.
Yeah. Happy
people
something.
Are funny. Yeah.
Happy
whatever.
something, all you Jewish people, is what she was wanting to say.
Man.
Yeah.
I do
Tony,
think she did it on purpose, or she really is that stupid.
No, I think she just doesn't care. No, I don't think she did it on purpose. I think she just doesn't care.
Maybe she did it on
Put
purpose
some
to be
Jew
offensive.
thing up there, I'm sure she's saying, right?
If she screws up like that, she knows it's going to make headlines, and so she does stuff like that on purpose.
Oh.
Even if it makes her look like an idiot, it still gets her attention. And she is, if anything,
well,
an
Ricky
attention
agrees with you. Ricky
whore.
says, Ricky O'Bear one, who, by the way, I'll come back to him in a second. He says intentionally disrespectful. She did it intentionally. Wow.
Yeah. I don't
you
think
guys,
anyone's that stupid.
maybe you're right.
Everyone knows Hanukkah's after Christmas. She had to do it, or before
Ron
Christmas or whatever.
Ron says I think she did it on purpose.
Yeah. I think she
Maybe
did
it's
too.
on purpose, says somebody else. Karen, I think it is. Karen saying, well, she is a bigot, so maybe it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Spencer said she's a pro-Putin moron. Interesting.
And then
SF Tesla says it's her subconscious maybe doing weird stuff.
She can be offensive and then go, "Oh, sorry, my mistake." No.
Oh, you know what?
You meant to be a complete a-hole.
You may be convincing
were an
me.
a-hole, and we all know it. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really strong.
Huge
Great
in Japan
takedown.
says she did it deliberately to appeal to her base.
Wow. That is some low-ass stuff.
God bless America. The end.
Right. Aussie says kind of like MTG is that smart? She may be. When it comes to hate, they can be pretty smart.
Yeah.
All right.
Underhanded, sneaky nastiness. Sure.
I'd like to do something which we've never done in the history of this program.
What are we doing?
I don't mean start on time. I do mean, Tony, it's okay. Can you do a law and disorder for me here at the end of
Tony.
Would that be all right toward the end of the show here?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Poor Tony is working sick.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Tough.
Oh,
Well.
stop. Get to the show.
All right.
Thanks, Tony.
He doesn't like the attention, unlike Marjorie.
I don't blame him. All right. We like to follow those things going on in the courtroom, off the courtroom. We've mentioned a few of them in the show thus far, but we've left a few out. One rather bizarre. Let's do an episode of Law and Disorder.
In the criminal justice system, the people,
Pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care.
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law. You're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
I'm going to start with the headline from this country, but I'm going to quickly take you overseas. The headline in this country, though, is about Hunter Biden. That's right. He's had enough, people. Hunter Biden has had enough, and he's suing Rudy Giuliani.
What?
He's also suing Giuliani's attorney, Robert Costello. He's suing them both for hacking laptop data. Biden's suing, claiming that they hacked and manipulated data on an external hard drive associated with his laptop. Giuliani and the attorney have frequently acknowledged accessing the hard drive's data. The lawsuit says that they dedicated an extraordinary amount of time and energy toward looking for, hacking into, tampering with, manipulating, copying, disseminating, and generally obsessing over data that they were given or that was taken or was stolen. Giuliani has sought to paint Hunter Biden, of course, as a corrupt businessman. Maybe he was a corrupt businessman who cashed in on his father's political power. Maybe he did cash in. He and Costello has said that they were provided the hard drive in 2020 by a Delaware computer repair shop owner who says that Hunter Biden dropped off the laptop the year before and never returned to retrieve it. In May, Hunter Biden also sued that computer repair shop owner, John Paul Mac Isaac, who has denied wrongdoing and said that he obtained the laptop legally. Anyway, Giuliani and Costello claim that they used Hunter Biden's username to get access to his data and to make copies and to share it with allies like Steve Bannon. Costello declined to comment. Costello's the lawyer, again, to remind you. Giuliani's camp is saying Hunter Biden has previously refused to admit ownership of the laptop. I'm not surprised now that he's falsely claiming his laptop hard drive was manipulated by Mayor Giuliani, said the Giuliani spokesperson. But the lawsuit does claim that some of the data was tampered with, manipulated, and altered. And it cites statements Giuliani made on a podcast in which he boasted about his access to the Hunter Biden data.
Does anyone think that Giuliani is above tampering with something to, make it say what he wants it to say?
He is not above anything,
No.
Giuliani. He is below everything. Of course, Giuliani is in court and dealing with legal issues all the way up to his neck. He has huge issues, indicted by a Fulton County, Georgia grand jury in August, as you're aware. And Giuliani and Hunter will likely meet in court. It is a serious court case, but again, they're stacking up against Rudy Giuliani. And now to Europe. A German museum employee has been caught shamelessly swapping original paintings for fakes.
What?
To fund his lavish lifestyle.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
It really did work for a time.
How can what do people not know the difference? They must be really good fakes.
You got to get the good fakes. That's part of the heist. A German museum employee confessing to an audacious scheme. Audacious, a ding word.
For sure. Ding it.
He was caught swapping out paintings with forgeries and selling the originals to fund a luxury lifestyle.
Oh, the cojones that takes.
He has received a suspended prison sentence of 1 year and 9 months. And he has to pay back the money to the unnamed German museum. The man is 30 years old. He stole 3 paintings while working at the museum in Munich as a technician. He replaced the paintings with fakes while they were in storage, consigning the originals to a Munich auction house. So the auction house has to not ask too many questions as to how did you get these paintings?
I mean, maybe because he has museum credentials, he's like, we're selling this.
Yeah. He says, I think that he found this into the garage type thing. I'll get to that in a second. First, I want to get to how he used the money. He used the money to pay debts and to fund a luxury lifestyle. Among other things, he bought a new apartment,
nice, expensive
wristwatches, and bought a Rolls Royce.
Wow.
Yeah, he really upgraded. Yeah. So he tried to sell a 4th painting in addition to the other 3 at a Munich auction house, unsuccessful there. And so he started to, the caper started to run out of steam.
How did they catch him?
The defendant shamelessly exploited the opportunity to access the storage rooms in the employer's buildings and sold valuable cultural assets in order to secure an exclusive standard of living for himself and to show off, said the verdict. The apparent vulnerability of the museum's collection to theft while in storage recalls the recent scandal we talked about it here of that senior curator at the British Museum. Remember I told you about the guy at the British Museum who took 1,500 things from the British Museum because it was all in storage. Most of those items were never cataloged, so they can't even keep track of what they lost. How was his caper revealed? I don't see the answer to that. I don't even see the answer to, I thought he had said he represented these things as having been in his mother's garage, if not literally his mother's garage, in his mother's estate that they were selling off, I think is what he said originally. But what ultimately gave him up? I don't see that.
These were like masters, right? The works of art of the masters.
Yeah,
Because your mom
absolutely.
just has a Monet laying around, a Rodin, like, you know. Okay.
My mom's quite sophisticated.
Apparently, in the garage, they keep a lot of the good stuff.
Wild. They're trying to arrange for the return of the pictures. They were sold, you know. They have many valuable German paintings languishing in storage. They say languishing is a ding word. And that's it. He is nailed, and he will get a 1 year and 9 month suspended sentence.
What?
And I know. I mean,
what kind of injustice is that? 1 year and 9 months suspended sentence?
I believe
no jail time for ripping off the place you work for?
No, he will be.
Apparently, I could siphon money out of the Mark Thompson Show fund, and it's all right.
Yeah.
Suspended sentence, off you go.
Does he get to keep the Rolls Royce too?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Thanks, Tony.
I do agree that the damage done. You're sending a message, but not really. It was a 2-year caper, and he has to pay back a lot of the money, but he got a suspended prison sentence. Yeah, 1 year and 9 months. Never has to do a day. Wow. Wild. Not as wild, though, as this, and we close the show out with this little bit of lunacy. I almost saved this for Albert for Florida. A woman drove 2 hours to shoot her husband.
Oh.
Who wanted a divorce.
Must have been really mad.
This happened in Phoenix. All right.
You'd think after the 2 hour long drive, you'd have time to cool off a little bit, but no.
Yeah, that's right. Think it through.
Yeah.
Christina Pasqualetto, 62, was living in Gilbert, a town in Arizona 2.5 hours away from Prescott. That's where her husband, who was 80 years old, was living. The victim reportedly changed the locks at his home, but said his keys and other items were missing. He suspected that his wife also stole checks from his personal account, forged signatures to cash $10,000. Police did find a deposit slip that matched that transaction, so she was really beginning to chew him up in every way. So here he is, the 80-year-old, waiting. When police interviewed her, Pasqualetto, she said she didn't want a divorce, contrary to what the victim wanted. And she drove to his house, arriving around midnight. When she entered the residence, officials say she approached the victim in bed, where a verbal argument broke out regarding their talks of divorce. The victim told Pasqualetto, that is the 80-year-old, told the wife, that he wasn't changing his mind about wanting to get a divorce. He wanted one. And that's when she shot him with the handgun, hit him in the wrist. Police said that after being shot, the victim got up and knocked her down, struck Pasqualetto with his hands and elbows, and fled to a neighbor's home to call 911. The 80-year-old was ground transported to a nearby hospital and then airlifted for non-life-threatening injuries. Pasqualetto then arrested on charges of attempted first-degree murder, aggravated assault, forgery, and theft.
Good day,
Wow.
sir.
That's right. And that, my friends, is a story of somebody who really didn't want a divorce. That's Law and Disorder for today.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
So, say it ain't so. What is going on? Tony, how can you do that to me? We're done already?
Thanks, Tony.
That's it.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, there's no more Mark Thompson today.
Well, if
That's
there was
enough.
only a way to continue the party, and there is. The after party live begins.
We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
It begins in just minutes over on the After Party Live channel. Yeah, with Kim and John Daly. Tomorrow is a huge show. Who's on tomorrow, Kim?
Oh, we have Wednesday. Wednesday is some good stuff happening on the Mark Thompson Show. Of course, Wednesday is John Rothman Day.
Kim has no
Laugh
idea.
at me.
Yeah, all right.
John Rothman Day. So John Rothman will be here. That's exciting, right? We love John Rothman.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson
Wait,
Show.
no, not yet. Nope, not yet.
We have great guests tomorrow.
All
Tim
the
can't
time.
think of what they
Bye-bye.
are until tomorrow. It's going to be great.
Anthony Davis will be here.
Bye-bye.
Yes, Anthony Davis.